which was nice. So the elections piece was big in terms of what we did to reinvent the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections, basically overhaul it. And then the voting machine study was very much needed. It was looked at around the country as really, well, let's put it this way, the Election Assistance Commission decided to conduct a study and model it after Ohio's. So it was a good thing, not just for Ohio, but it helped people in other states as well. We've improved poll worker training so that it's systematized, uniform. That, I mean, when we came into office, one Board of Elections was using a comic book format to train poll workers. And we've managed to institutionalize many of the reforms so that no matter who is Secretary of State, the things that we've been able to do, security, backup paper ballots, poll worker training, flip charts that go to all the polling places, those things stay in place no matter what. Because it really is more important that we improve the system, because democracy is a system. We've been able to improve business filings, the time, the turnaround, more online filings. We opened an office in Cleveland that for the first time ever accepts business filings for, it makes it easier for people in that part of the state to be able to go there in person and get what they need. We have removed Social Security numbers from the Secretary of State's website. We've trained boards of elections how to protect people's private information. And then one of the things that actually was an impetus for me to make the tough decision to leave the bench and move forward was to create an index of life quality indicators. It's called Better Lives, Better Ohio. So now any Ohioan can go to our website, download information into an Excel spreadsheet about statistics, 300 different indicators, anything from the use of libraries to healthcare statistics, crime statistics, money spent on education in a particular area or a school district, or even the amount of open farmland in a county. And we continually add more to it as our users ask us for more information. It takes the information of 18 different state, federal, nonprofit agencies where we know we have reliable data and makes it available to Ohioans in a uniform format in ways that they can use. For instance, a nonprofit can use it to get their baseline data to apply for a grant. A local chamber of commerce can take it, and for instance about the county, and use it to paint a good picture about the quality of the workforce that someone would get if they brought jobs to the area. And then ordinary Ohioans can learn it to use it to find out about their government. And over time, because we go year by year, we can track, you know, as you might know, we don't have a legislative budget office anymore. And so this allows us to track the quality and judge for ourselves of government budget and policy making decisions.
You think you and Republican lawmakers are going to be able to come to any kind of agreement on an election reform package before the end of this session?
I would hope so. I was very encouraged because yesterday the Ohio House unanimously passed a bill that provides address confidentiality for victims of domestic violence. I know there's some partisan cage rattling that it shouldn't be in the Secretary of State's office, but there's not always going to be a Democratic Secretary of State, and it's done in 37 other states and mostly in Secretary of State offices. We keep records, we keep track of paper. It goes with what we do.
There's a lot of people who still don't understand why you decided to jump into the Senate race. I mean, especially given the Appropriation Board, the position that the Secretary of State's office is going to have in that process. What do you say to them?
I can do more than run a good election. My state, and I don't minimize that by any means, but my state is hurting, and I care about my state. I love my state. I do this for public service, and I think that I can do some good. I know that I can. And frankly, with Mary Taylor and I both not running for re-election, if you want to use the sports analogy, it's a jump ball. And this has been good in that it's created what I call a perfect storm to allow us and to push us as Ohioans to look at a better way to draw our district lines so that we have districts that are more reflective of an entire community and also more reflective of the diversity of political views in a district. So when we talk about compactness and competitiveness, that's what we mean. And we modeled with the League of Women Voters and others a way to do this and actually tested it, and it works. It's so exciting that it actually would work. So the hope is that we may see it on the November ballot. I'll be it'll be discouraging for Ohioans if we don't, because then we go for another 10 years with the same kind of partisan free-for-all process that hasn't always brought us the best results.
If you win, when you win, however you want to put that, what are your biggest goals going into a U.S. Senate seat?
Helping bring jobs to Ohio. And I know a lot of candidates say that, but there are people out there who just want to work. And if they're in the building trades, even if they're willing to go to another state, the work just isn't there. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done to stimulate the economy, whether you start with infrastructure funding so that you get people to work right away and sort of push that ripple effect of helping stimulate the economy so that you help the service sector jobs as well. But dealing with some changes in unemployment compensation so that people who are unemployed and getting compensation can work part-time, subtract that from their overall benefits, extend the life of their benefits, and hopefully get their foot in the door for a full-time job so that they can get off of unemployment. Make changes to the priority that the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, which is responsible for a surprising number of pensions of people around the country, with companies that are still viable and still operating but have been through bankruptcy, move them up in priority so that people get more than pennies on the dollar for a pension that they worked hard for a lot of years. Take a different approach to worker retraining so that it's regional and task force oriented, so that we get the dollars into the state faster, we target them better. Task force allows us to cut through a lot of the government impediments that happen when money moves from one level of government to another or across agencies. At the same time, make sure that small businesses, who are really the catalyst of job growth, have the access to credit and health care. And we're on the way as far as health care goes, but credit, working specifically with community banks. A lot of changes in regulation for banking so that we don't end up in the situation we did in 2008, 2009. That would mean things like reinstating the Glass-Steagall Act, keeping banks in banking, not also in insurance and securities, and bringing the troops home from Afghanistan sooner rather than later by looking more toward humanitarian efforts that would help the Afghan people start to become more self-sufficient in stronger infrastructure, education, rebuilding their country, and leaving less opportunity with the methods that we're taking now, using a lot of private contractors for the Taliban to move in while the police are busy with, the local police in Afghanistan are busy with the contractors and others there. There's a whole lot more that needs to be done, but that's a good start.
Okay. A lot of talk about Tea Party stuff.
Especially today, April 15th.
Yes. What are you hearing from people out on the campaign trail? Are you running into people who say we're tired of the federal government and they're intruding into our lives too much? What are you hearing from?
Not so much in a Democratic primary, but it is kind of funny. We took our bus for the first trip to Meigs County, and we had one side of it painted with the letters, and the other side we had a banner. And the poor people in Meigs County thought we were protesters from the Tea Party movement at first. So they were disavowed of that pretty quickly. But I have to tell you, it was so amazing. It was a Meigs County Democratic dinner, and they said the prayer before the dinner, and one of the things that the person who gave the prayer said was to thank God that Congress passed health care. It was said in the deepest humility too. It was very telling. And when I asked them in Meigs County how the recession had affected them, and they said, well, we really haven't been hit too hard because we didn't have it so good in the first place.
How big of